Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? My name is Bryn, I'm the Game Survivor, and welcome to Ultimate General Gettysburg. This is a game that was recently released. It came out of early access only a couple of days ago. I've had it in my Steam library for quite some time. I've played a little bit of it, but I decided that now that it's released, it's about time to jump into it again and show you guys what it's all about, because it's got some really cool mechanics. It is set during the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, I believe. I'm not an American, so my Civil War history certainly isn't up to scratch. We're going to play as the Confederate, because they're fun to play as. Yeah, you get to control the battlefield a little bit more. And we're going to go with the balanced difficulty, so let's jump straight in. Alright, so here we are. We'll skip the briefing and the tutorial real quick and start moving our troops up, because we have to use our advantage of surprise to get the jump on the Union forces as quickly as possible. The movement is very simple. You just sort of click and drag your troops where you want them to go, and the lines, the arrows that get drawn, actually really helpful for when you're coordinating large groups of forces, and it's a really nice stylistic choice as well. If you have a look closely, I'll zoom in a little bit later and show you directly. If you have a look closely, you can actually see the style of the battlefield is like a painted map. It's very, very interesting. It's an awesome style. I really, really like it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I certainly really, really like it, and I applaud the developers on their art style. Alright, now as you can see, some of our men are in position and they're engaging some of the Union forces, and as the Confederate we actually start off with a numerical advantage on the battlefield, but that doesn't last very long, as the Union brings in a lot of reinforcements later on in the first phase of the battle. So we've got to use this advantage really quickly, capture as much territory as possible, and push forward into the town of Gettysburg as fast as possible. Now as you can see, I've actually ordered some of my troops to engage the Union forces in melee combat, which is a really cool feature. I'm really glad you can do that. The Confederate gets an advantage actually when fighting in melee, so I'm going to use that to my advantage to push up and to capture as much ground as possible. Now that my men are starting to push back the Union forces, I want to talk a little bit about the development of the game. This was developed originally by a guy called Darth who developed a lot of Total War mods and decided to branch out and make his own game, which is extremely cool. The title of the game, Ultimate General Gettysburg, seems to indicate that it's actually part of a series, which is extremely exciting. I'd really love to see some more games in this style, like perhaps Ultimate General Waterloo, or even Ultimate General Verdun, or something. I reckon that'd be really cool, and I reckon we'll definitely see a lot more from this new team of developers, and hopefully some more from this series as well. Anyway, that's enough about development. It's time to talk a little bit more about the actual gameplay. Now obviously the main overarching goal of the game is to win the Battle of Gettysburg as your chosen faction. But each day in the battle is actually split up into separate phases, and at the end of each phase, depending on how successful you were on the battlefield, you get to make some decisions about what to do next. Now those decisions can vary from defending your position if you've taken too many losses, to flanking the enemy, to attacking them head on, or just reinforcing a certain area. And that's really, really cool. It encourages you to deviate from the historical outcome of the Battle of Gettysburg, which I know a lot of Civil War history buffs are going to love. And I certainly really enjoyed playing out some what-if scenarios myself. Alrighty, I've skipped ahead a little way, and as you can see I've captured Oak Ridge, and I'm starting to encircle the Union forces in the valley down below, and trapping them and getting as much fire on them to inflict as many casualties as possible. But the Union are bound to bring up some reinforcements very soon, so I need to push really hard and fast to the outskirts of the town to try and capture it as soon as possible. And what do you know, right on cue, the Union brings up a bunch of reinforcements just after I capture Seminary Ridge, and starts really digging their heels in to defend the town. And unfortunately I'm forced to retreat a little way and reinforce my own position because I'm taking far too many losses. So for the rest of this phase of the battle, there's a little bit more toing and froing, but other than that, the lines are pretty much drawn. So it's time to skip ahead to the first choice I have to make about the next phase of the battle. Alright, so I've got a couple of options here. As you can see, I can attack and take Gettysburg, attack the Union forces head on, or I can flank around to the Union's left, my right, and sort of hit them on the side and knock out as many of their forces as possible. Now, as you can see, there's a map that displays what that option looks like, as well as a briefing that explains your objectives and any strategies that you can use. I end up going with flanking the Union left because I don't think I have quite the forces to take Gettysburg yet, because I took quite a few casualties in the first phase of the battle. So in this phase of the battle, I actually don't start off with a numerical advantage. I have to sort of sit and wait for reinforcements to arrive before I can actually start my attack proper. So I'm just moving my forces up to skirmish with the enemy a little bit and wait for reinforcements to arrive. And when they do arrive, they arrive in force. Tons of men start sweeping down from the north to reinforce my position. Now, the AI is very, very smart in this game, and I think it's figured out that I'm trying to flank around their left. And so I have to adjust my plan, and so I've decided to go all out and try and capture the town of Gettysburg itself and any surrounding points that might be of interest to keep the enemy out of the town. Of course, I don't want to overcommit in the same way I did in the last phase of the battle, so for quite some time I'm advancing quite cautiously. But when my probing attacks find that no one seems to be garrisoning the town, I just decide to go all out to surround the enemy and absolutely decimate them, try and get them trapped in a pocket where they can't escape. And thankfully the plan succeeds. My men to the west are holding off the enemy and surrounding them, while my reinforcements from the north are sweeping into the town to capture it. Unfortunately though, we get word that a massive pile of reinforcements are coming from the south to try and counterattack and retake the town from us. So we have to really quickly reinforce the town, garrison it, get as many men to the front line as possible to beat off this massive counterattack that could very well dislodge our army from its favourable position. And when the reinforcements hit, they hit very hard, and the troops that are in the town are having a very hard time defending against this wave of Union forces. But thankfully they managed to hold out, and the rest of the army arrives just in time. After a very long and protracted battle with lots of slow maneuvering and slow advancement, we managed to separate the enemy into two separate pockets that aren't able to mix with each other. And by that point, this phase of the battle is pretty much done and we've won. It's just a matter of routing the enemy and bleeding them dry. So, despite the fact that I've won a very decisive victory here, the battle isn't over because the Union will retreat to the south and I've got to rout them out of there. Or they could counterattack, who knows. The branching choice system in this game is fantastic and it can bring up some really dynamic gameplay, which is great. Before I finish though, I'd like to sort of wrap it up with a bit of a summary of the game. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's only $15 on Steam. I think there's also a DRM free version that you can get if you're that way inclined. The art style is great. You feel like an absolute boss when you're drawing arrows all over the map. As I said, the branching choice system, really, really good. Lots of replay value there. The gameplay in general, the strategy gameplay, for an RTS game, really top notch. Really enjoyed it. And actually, I haven't encountered any bugs. I didn't encounter any bugs in early access. The AI wasn't great in early access, but I didn't encounter any crashes or sort of lag or anything or any bugs of any sort. And as I said, yeah, the AI is brilliant. It wasn't so good in early access, but the AI now that's been released, is absolutely fantastic. So, if you're a history buff, if you're a Civil War buff, or even if you're just into strategy games, I thoroughly recommend you go give this game a look. Ultimate General Gettysburg, as I said, I'll leave a link down in the description to the Steam page. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see some more of this game, if you want to see me play out the last phase of the battle, comment down below. If you want to see me play as the Union, also comment down below. Don't forget to hit like as well. I thoroughly appreciate it. Really helps me out. And of course, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe as well for a bunch of new games. I often review sort of obscure new games like this one. But as I said, that's pretty much it. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you later.